Hey guys, Dwayne here. And Mia. Mia wanted attention. She just came right over to me and started meowing. She didn't used to like to be picked up or held, but now she likes it in small doses. Anyway, I have a lot of stories to tell you, and today I'm going to tell you a few that happened. I grouped these together in one video because they all happened at work, at different jobs. Okay, let's get to it. First story. I was working with this guy named Ed. He was a younger guy in his 20s. He was married, and for some reason, he and his wife were sharing a house with this lesbian couple. Um, I don't know. I don't know why. I never really understood it, but it was Ed and his wife and the lesbian couple renting a house together. Anyway, at some point, the lesbians were having trouble paying their rent. This sounds like a joke. It's not. This is true. So they came up with this plan. Ed came to work and was selling tickets. All right, for $100, you could go to his house and watch the lesbians doing it. Oh man. No, I didn't buy a ticket. In fact, I don't think anybody did. At least nobody that I knew would admit it. Too strange. Okay, next story. This happened when I worked in the accounting office at a Ford car dealership. I had keys to the building, and I was also on salary. So I could go in anytime, even when the business was closed, I could go in and work. Um, that worked out good for them and for me because I had a lot of work. I actually worked way more than 40 hours. But anyway, I believe it was either Labor Day or Memorial Day. It was a Monday holiday weekend. All right. And I went in either on Sunday or Monday. I think it was Monday on the holiday. Early in the morning, like 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, I went in to do some work. And when I got there, the doorknob to the outside door had been twisted off. I don't know how many people know this, but you can take a pair of channel locks bigger than this. They make bigger ones. A big pair of channel locks like this, and you can get enough leverage and enough grip to twist a doorknob so hard. Even a steel expensive doorknob, you can twist it so hard it'll pop open. Okay. I'm not saying to do that. Don't do that. But that's what happened. Somebody had twisted off the doorknob to the outside door and gained access. All right. At the time, I was a proud concealed weapon carry card holder. I wore a 45 auto and a shoulder holster. I drew my gun and went inside. Probably not the smartest thing, but that's what I did. Okay, it was like a police show. Dun 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 dun. Searching the building. Okay, I went up to the accounting office. The accounting office was on the second floor. The doorknob to the accounting office had been twisted off. Okay, this is getting interesting. So I'm like going in. All right, looking around. There was a room, a file room that we kept locked. Inside one of the file cabinets was a lot of change, like rolls of coins and ones and fives and tens, because there were cash registers throughout the dealership. And the accounting office kept small bills for setting up the cash registers in the morning. Anyway, so they had twisted off the doorknob to that closet, the file room, and pried open the file cabinet, and I believe they took the bills and left the coins. Pretty sure. This was a long time ago. Anyway, they got some small bills, ones, fives, and tens. Okay. Then, if you go down the hallway in the accounting office, at the back of the room was a door that led to the parts department. We kept that locked. That doorknob was twisted off. Okay. So I followed the clues. I should have called the police. But I was armed and dangerous. So I go through the parts department. Didn't see anybody, didn't hear anybody. Once you go through the parts department, then you could get into the sales department. The doorknob to the sales department had been twisted off. So I go through that door. Dun, 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 dun. There was a room called the sales office. And off to the side of that room was another file room, which had the safe. That's where the big money was. That doorknob had been twisted off. Inside the file room, next to the safe, was a cutting torch. They had attempted to cut the safe open. They failed. They gave up. They destroyed the safe, so it couldn't even be opened. We eventually got it open, but anyway. But they didn't get the mother lode. All they got were the ones, fives, and tens from the accounting office. So, and they weren't around, but I could still smell the burning metal. Yeah, it was. It had just happened. Maybe an hour or two before I got there. Anyway, so I went back to the accounting office, called my boss, called the owner, called the police. They came and dusted for prints, but they never caught him. I'm pretty sure I know who it was, but they never caught him. Okay, next story. When I worked in the accounting office, one of my favorite parts of the job was purchasing. I was also in charge of buying office supplies, business forms, and we had a full-time maintenance man who would go around the property fixing things and doing grounds work and such. And whenever he needed something, tools or whatever, I would buy that for him. Okay. One day, a light bulb salesman showed up. Wanted to talk to the purchasing manager. That was me. All right. So, I know I can buy any light bulb I need at Home Depot, right? But this guy had these super terrific light bulbs and telling me how great they were. They're full light spectrum. You get all the colors. Increases productivity and so on and so on. And he's telling me all this, and I'm just thinking, whatever. You know, I had to be polite because I was representing the company I worked for. But he was really wasting my time. Okay. Then he told me, he said, do you know how important light is to humans? I'm like, I don't know. And he said, well, if you take a person and you put them in a dark room with no light and give them food and water, and then you take another person and put him in a light room with no food and water, the person in the dark room will die first. I'm like, what? And then he goes off on his little sales pitch. And I'm like, wait a minute. Let's go back to the dark room. How many times did they do that experiment? And he's like, what? I don't understand. I said, no. You said if you put a person in a dark room with food and water, you put a person in a light room with no food and water, the person in the dark room will die first. He said, yeah. And I said, well, for that to have any scientific significance, they have to do it again and again and again and again, like 1,000 times, and get, similar results, the same results. The experiment not only has to prove the hypothesis, it has to be able to, you have to be able to reproduce it. Say they did the experiment over here, got these results, then they would have to do it over here, like in another country or something, and they got the same results, then okay, then you got something. And he's like, what are you talking about? I said, well, if it's an experiment, then how many times did they do it? And when they did this experiment, at this point, I'm just wasting his time. When they did this experiment, did they tell the participants, the person in the light room and the person in the dark room, did they tell them ahead of time that there's a 50-50 chance you're going to die? At that point, I think he realized I wasn't going to buy any light bulbs, and he gave me his card and left. Yeah, I can be a jerk. So at the same job, when I was the purchasing manager, I would get calls from time to time from people selling printer ribbons and printer toner. And these people were usually, almost always, scam artists, trying to sell me some made in China piece of crap and charging 5 to 10 times what I could get it for at Office Depot. And they were really just a waste of my time. What I should have done was say, I'm not interested, thanks for calling, and hang up. But sometimes I'm bored, and sometimes I just gotta fuck with people. So this guy called, and he says, I'm from your printer supply company, and I wanted to let you know we have a price increase coming up, but if you order today, you can still get it at the old price. And I'm like, I know this is not the guy I buy toner from, but I'll play along. I said, really? Well, how much is it today, and how much is it going to be when it goes up? And he says, well, what kind of printer do you have? And I said, well, if you're my printer toner supply guy, you know what kind of printer I have. He said, yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Myers. I do have a lot of clients, and I don't have that information right in front of me. I said, oh, okay. So I rattled off the make and model of the printer that we use most often in the accounting office. And he said, oh, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good printer. I said, yeah. And he said, well, let me give you the price. And he gave me the price, and I don't remember what it was, but it was like triple what I normally pay. And that's his low price. In a few days, the price was going to go way up because of some kind of toner shortage in Indonesia or something. I don't remember. Anyway, so he's like telling me, you can get one bottle of toner for this much, or if you want to buy 5, you can get a better price. If you want to buy a dozen, you can get a really good price. And I said, well, you know what, Bill? I think his name was Bill. Anyway, I said, you know what, Bill? And he says, what's that, Mr. Myers? And I said, I think your toner sucks sawgrass. And the line was quiet. He said, what did you say? I said, I think your toner sucks sawgrass. And I'm trying not to laugh. I'm trying to be dead serious. And he's like, Well, that's not a very nice thing to say. And I said, if your toner was any good, I could go to Office Depot and buy it. I wouldn't have to talk to you. And he said, well, sir, I'm just trying to do my job. I said, no, you're cold calling people who are not really your customers and trying to sell them overpriced toner. And he hung up. All right. He hung up. He was mad. He hung up. Okay, that's not the end of the story. Okay. So after a few minutes, he calls back. Like, thanks for calling. This is Dwayne. And he said, this is Bill from the toner company. Let me talk to your boss. I'm like, all right. I don't care. You can talk to my boss. I put him on hold. Wait. I'm not going to bother my boss with this. Now, this was, I forget what year it was, but it was when right after the movie Mrs. Doubtfire came out with Robin Williams, where he pretends to be this English nanny so he can spend time with his kids, kind of thing. Anyway, he did a pretty good job of playing an English woman, and so I decided that's what I was going to do to this guy. So I take him off hold. I pick up the phone. I said, "Hello, Jedediah Doubtfire here. How can I help you, sir?" And he's like, "Jedediah Doubtfire? Yes, dear. How can I help you?" He said, "Well, I wanted to complain about your employee, Mr. Myers. He was rude to me." Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Well, maybe I can help you, sir." And he says, "Well, yeah, yeah, Jetta. Can I call you Jetta?" And I said, "Oh no, please call me Mrs. Doubtfire." And he said, "Well, okay, Mrs. Doubtfire, I have this. We're having a sale on toner, and I'd like to get you a really good deal on some toner." And Mr. Myers was rude to me. "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Well, how much is your toner today, dear?" And he told me, and I went, "Oh, goodness, oh, that's an awful lot of money. You're going to cause this old woman's heart to stop. Oh, hold please." Put him on hold. Pick up the phone. Take him off hold. Mr. Myers speaking. He's like, "Oh, shit." He hung up again. Yeah, I'm evil. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed these stories. Have a great day. Peace out.